Alright guys, welcome back to the LPR Trading Group YouTube channel. It's Dave again. What I want to do in this video is go over my Quantower settings for all of the charts I use. I get a few questions pretty much every day on, what you're setting for this chart or that chart. I figured it's best if I just make a video on Quantower and all the chart settings that I have, and we'll just go through them one by one. I do have a bunch of charts up here that are sort of bound into each other, so I can just click through the charts and get a pretty easy visual on them here. So we'll start with this chart right here, which you guys are familiar with. Now this is the chart that I use on the 1 minute, and I use this to look at, intraday price action levels when we're trapping, check out our imbalances, etc., etc. So what you got to do here is you pop open a chart. So you just go amp right here, and you would hit chart, and it will pop open a new chart window for you. And what you're going to do is, we'll expand this. You're going to click this little magnifying glass in the top right hand corner here. This is going to pop up this little area at the bottom where you've got some other options. Now what you want to do, you want to start by hitting cluster, and you enable cluster. This is the first step. So this is going to turn your chart into a cluster chart. It's going to look pretty gnarly at first, but it will get better. I promise you that. So once we get there, we'll go into the cluster, and I want you to make this chart an imbalance chart. So type imbalance. We're going to do coloring by delta. Okay, this is how I prefer it, by delta. And then we're going to go into the settings here. When we go into the settings, it's just going to be basic colors and stuff that we're going to be changing around. So you've got your chart type, imbalance, cluster visualization, coloring by delta. I've got value labels as like a white color. I've got, I'll pull up that color. So this is the hex code here. If you guys want to get the exact code of all the colors so the charts are identical, just type in this hex code right here. Delta color on the buy side. Hex colors right here. That's that like bluish type color. Delta color on the sell side. There's the hex code. That's the red color. And now what I've done here is I've changed my imbalance ratios. So I want to see 3-to-1 imbalances. They're going to show up in this pink color and this yellow color, and 6-to-1 imbalances are going to show up in this darker pink color and this green color. So you check those boxes off right here, and the hex code color for the sell on the 3-to-1 imbalance is going to be here. The buy color for the 3-to-1 imbalance will be right here. The sell color for the 6-to-1 will be this guy. The buy color for the 6-to-1 will be this guy. I have checked off show stacked imbalances. Now let me close this and I'll show you what the stacked imbalances are if we had any today. You see these green lines running across the chart? It sort of looks like a zone. Those are going to be the stacked imbalances. Now what is that and why do they show up? I'll scroll over here and I'll show you. So if we zoom right into this price action right here, you're going to see this is an area where we had 1, 2, 3 stacked 6-to-1 imbalances. Okay, so it'll tell me that buyers were really aggressive in this area, and these do come into play sort of like your supply and demand zones. As we can see here, we pushed up, we pulled back, we held price, held. This is where buyers were participating before. This is where they're participating again. I like these for exactly this, short-term momentum type pullbacks, right? We get a good push, get a stack of imbalances. It gives me that green box automatically. We could pull back, hold, and go. These are like scalp type trades, of course. This is not a video about trading, but that's how I use them there. We'll go back into the clusters here. So those are the imbalances. Show stacked imbalances. Zone counts. Zone counts are how many imbalance ratios in a row is it going to count before it gives you that stacked imbalance line. So I have it at 3. We can see on the left side here, 1, 2, 3. So because I have 3, it's going to give me that line. If you're getting too many of them or you don't like them, you can change it to 4 or 5, play around with it, whatever suits you. Now, I used to have highlight zeros on. I don't, and what this is if I turn this on, it's going to highlight the zeroed out auctions, okay? I don't have that turned on anymore. highlight unfinished auctions, it's going to do the exact opposite. It's going to highlight the top of the auctions that are not finished, that haven't zeroed out. So I don't have either of those on anymore. They're more useful on higher time frames in my opinion. Show cluster volume right here. These are the volumes, deltas, and relative highs. I don't really use the relative high. I do look at the volume and I look at the overall delta. I could probably get rid of these if I'm being completely honest with you and trade much cleaner like this, because we'll get into another area, another section where we're actually seeing the deltas play out down here. So we'll actually just leave it like that, everything unchecked. I'll play with it tomorrow and see how I like it. If not, I'll just put it back. I also have show POC. This is point of control per candle. I made my color white. The hex code is just a lot of F's right here. And what is the point of control per candle? The point of control is going to be these white areas, okay? So the point of control is where there were the most transactions. What tick value had the most transactions on any given candle, okay? So for example, this candle that we pushed to the upside, this area right here, this price had the highest volume or most transactions. So that's the point of control. We'll go back here, see if we missed anything. It does not look like we missed anything. So that is, you should be completely set up with this little 1 minute footprint delta chart here. If you want it exactly like I have it, feel free to play with the colors and use whatever suits your eyes. But this is how I use it. This 5 minute chart is nothing. I was playing around some other things here. Let's get into the HVC charts. So the high volume cluster charts here. Now you guys know I use these for like higher volume nodes or higher volume areas to see if price is going to hold these areas or break through certain areas. Now I've recently just changed data feeds, and I think because I logged into a new data feed, it didn't save a lot of the HVC areas. There's a video showing you guys how to use these charts, but I will show you exactly how I have them set up. So again, we go down to the bottom here, cluster. We can go straight to the settings if we want. We can put type imbalance, that's fine, but the color or the cluster visualization is going to be coloring by volume, okay? So what is this going to show us? As long as you select a color that doesn't have a line through it like this, you select one of these colors up in this area, it's going to change the shade of the color depending on a high volume area, right? So lower volume areas will be darker, higher volume areas will be very bright purple into the white, which again is the point of control. So we'll go here and we'll check my settings. So value label color, right here, the hex code. Color mode, I've got it on gradient. Color volume, here's the hex code for color volume. I have no imbalance ratio selected because I'm not calculating imbalances on here. I really don't care about the numbers within this chart. If we do zoom in on this, we will see there are still numbers here, right? I just want to take a high level overview and see where the most volume was traded on the hourly, 30 minute, and 15 minute. So we'll go back into this here. Show stacked imbalances. We're not even calculating imbalances. We don't need that. Finished and unfinished auctions, like it doesn't really matter. I have highlight unfinished auctions on. I don't use this a ton. It could come into play on a 1 hour chart. Like for example, where does an unfinished auction come in play? Something like this. There's still an open auction here. It's not closed out. No one has zeroed out the price. We pull back, we push up, make a new high, the auction finishes, and then we roll over, okay? So these are ways that we can use unfinished auctions on higher time frames. Is it always the case that an auction finishes and we don't go through that area? Definitely not. But this is how they're used generally. So we'll go back here, scroll down. So unfinished auctions, show cluster volume. This is all that stuff at the top and bottom again. Again, maybe I'll just get rid of these and see how this works for me because I really don't look at those if I'm being completely honest with you. POC again, the POC is white. That's going to be that white line on each candle. That's going to show you the point of control. So again, lots of Fs, show POC, good. Once you have that done, your HVC chart is done. And all you have to do is build out this HVC chart on one time frame or one chart, and then you click these three little lines up here, you duplicate, and it duplicates the chart for you. This will all load in. Once it duplicates the chart, you can go here and select a 30-minute chart and load up the data on the 30 minutes. So you don't have to do it for every chart. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Again, I have a 30-minute HVC chart here, a 15-minute HVC chart, and then these two charts I don't really use. I don't use at all, actually. The next chart that I want to show you guys that I have been using lately, and we'll get into a time here. It's late at night here. I just wanted to record this. So we'll get into a time during the day where we've got sort of some more action so we can see. So this chart right here. Now, what is this chart showing us? Well, of course, each print is still a 1-minute candle, right? I have it on the 1-minute time frame. So what this is showing us is on the right side of the candle, we're looking at volume, okay? So this is volume printed at every tick value. On the left side of the candle, we're looking at delta per price, or delta at every tick value. If we zoom her in here a little bit, we can see that at this tick value right here, delta was positive 205. At this tick value, it was minus 113. Now, how do I use these charts? Well, we talked a little bit today about P's and B's in trading, right? For reversal type trades. Now, don't go out and just trade this. But if we have a trade that is at a level, we're possibly trapping, we're inside an HVC, whatever it is, we can start looking for these P's and B's. And what do they look like? Well, it looks something like this print right here. You get low volume at the top of the print, you get higher volume at the low of the print with delta, or the delta POC and the volume POC sitting at the low of the print. These are areas that we can possibly look to reverse price. Now, this reversal could be long or short term, we don't know. Just go through and look to see if we can find any more. I see possibly a little P here. So right up in this area again, when do we take this short? Well, we pop up, we don't get a P here. We pop up, we don't get a P here. No P, this is too small. We pop up, no P. No P, really. This is a high volume node. The next candle, what do we get? We pop up and we get this P, right? High volume, delta is within this high volume area or that area of the P. This is a possible trade to the short side for a reversal. So let's just say we had the 1 hour initial balance here and we were hitting 1 hour initial balance. Volume wasn't coming through to the buy side. We were seeing delta roll over or cumulative delta roll over or OBV. Maybe OBV or CD look like this. So we're topping out, topping out, topping out, and our CDs or OBVs can't reach the highs. This might be enough pieces to the puzzle to take this trade short, right? Okay, we've got high volume on this candle. We've got delta pushing the highs of this candle as well. There's a lot of pressure up here from the buyers and the sellers are shutting it down, right? It's like our Misty Metals battle we talked about today. Alrighty, so that's that chart, and I just have that on another screen. What else do I have here? Okay, another thing I have is I have this profile, this left profile. So this is a volume profile here on the left side. And this just shows me like a bigger picture, volume profile for the intraday, or even a smaller picture, right? If I just want to sort of zoom in on these areas and like see what's going on, like how much volume got traded in these areas, it helps me out to see, maybe some higher volume nodes like sitting in here. And if those line up and correspond with our HVC charts, that's great. It's just another piece of the puzzle. I don't use it a ton, but I do reference it here and there. And the way we get that is left profile. So we click left profile, we enable it. I want to show today's volume, show point of controls, and show value areas. Okay, what is the point of control on this? It's going to be this yellow area. Again, that yellow area will be the highest volume area for this day's price action. Now, what is the value area? The value area is going to be this lighter shade of gray relative to this darker shade of gray. It also shows you this blue dashed line here. So if we just chomp it down like that a bit, you'll see this blue dashed line, blue dashed line. This is the value area, the area where the most volume was traded. Okay, so that's what that is, and that works all off the left profile. So if you set it up like this, you should be good to go. Again, I've got it done by volume, so overall volume, buy or sell, doesn't matter. It's going to show up in there. Now, I think the last thing for Quantower that I use that I want to talk about is going to be time statistics. Now, time statistics are exactly what you see at the bottom here, right? If we look on the far right side, I know it's really hard to see here, but we can see that this top row is volume. The second row from the top is delta. This one right down here is max delta, and the one at the bottom is min delta. Okay, I will do a video on this and we'll talk about all of these, but in the meantime, I'll show you how to set these up. We go to time statistics here. Within time statistics, we want to select volume, delta, max delta, min delta. Now, I believe you select them in that exact order to put volume on top, then delta, then max delta, then min delta. If it's not that way, it's the complete opposite. Min delta, max delta, delta, volume. You guys will definitely figure it out, but this is what we get into here. Now, I don't know what your colors are going to be up by default, but if we go into that little gear section here, I'll click it again because I clicked it fast, this little settings area, it's going to bring up the time statistics editor, let's call it, or color editor. So I'll go through all these colors. My volume color, there's the hex code. Trade color, there's the hex code. Delta buy, delta sell. One important thing, again, make sure the colors, when you put them in, they do not have a line through them. Because if they have a line through them, they will not change shades like this. It will be just one color. And I'm very visual. I'm not super numbers oriented. That's why you see all of these colors on my chart, because the colors will trigger my brain faster than trying to reference, like, 50 divided into 170 equals. My brain doesn't work like that, or doesn't work that fast. So if I see stuff like this, a really bright purple, a really bright green, a really bright green, I know there was high volume there and buyers took control and push price up, right? Even without even looking at it. Like if we were to bring essentially the chart away, we should be able to tell what was happening or what's happening, right? Maybe we got a little push up, we got two candles sideways, we got a little push up here, we got really high buy deltas, right? Chop, we don't have anything, the colors are really dull, maybe a little pullback here, chop, 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 buyers really try to push big, looks like sellers shut them down and reversed it, right? We go like this. So pretty much exactly what happened. We said we got to push up, chop, chop, chop. Sellers sold it off a little bit, chop, chop, chop. Buyers pushed it up, sellers rejected it. So let's just see. Yep. Buyers pushed price up, sellers rejected it. So when you're looking at your chart, you can really use this to identify these big high volume areas, or delta rotations and stuff like that, again, which we will talk about in an upcoming video. But I think this should clear up most of the questions that people have about Quantower. Outside of that, I don't use anything else. I really do not use anything else within Quantower. This is like my whole setup. If I did miss something, I'll make sure to tell you guys. I do have a 21 EMA on my chart, so I'll show you how to add that quickly. If we go right here in the top left corner, add indicator, it's as simple as typing in EMA. You just double click on that. It will bring this up. You type 21, close, you're good to go. In the top left corner here, you'll have the 21 EMA. I have two of them, so I'll just close one out. If you wanted to change it, you click this settings area, you go back in. You can change your colors, you can change how thick it is, right? If you want it thicker, you want it thinner. you can adjust everything in here. But that's all I got for this video. I hope this was helpful in your Quantower setup, because I know there were a lot of questions, and I'm sure there will continue to be a lot of questions. But if you do have any more questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks, guys.